Stephanie Mountain, and I'm an advisor here with Technology Source. And the topic for today is the coronavirus, rethinking everything to enable today's workforce. The honor to introduce Sonya Moline, who's going to be the host for today's session. Moline is a dynamic leader. She holds a deep passion for sharing the tools for success with others and can be found volunteering in her local community or participating in the mentoring program for the National Nonprofit Alliance of Channel Women. Moline has also founded the annual Techie Toy Drive, which collects and donates STEM toys directly to children in need. Previously, she was a chief executive for business cloud services firm Effortless Office and founder and partner in the compliance firm ComplyPro. She joins Technology Source with a passion for business process improvement. While at these firms, she implemented extensive pandemic planning measures. These included virtualizing infrastructure and eliminating physical hardware such as servers, computers, to both enable on-site staff and remote workforce. So entirely relevant background to speak to us to the topic at hand today. I'll hand that over to you, Sonya. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. And thanks for all the hard work you're doing, helping the customers find all these solutions that we offer. When I was in the IT department at several healthcare organizations doing this pandemic planning, I never quite took it as seriously as I do now. We would joke and say, oh, it's just going to be for the zombie apocalypse, but this is real. And every day we wake up and it's more real as businesses are shutting down and organizations are faced with having to figure out new ways to mobilize their workforce. So at Technology Source, as you know, I used to work for Effortless, business cloud services provider, and I found Technology Source because they were one of the organizations that helped us find our customers. Technology Source is like a matchmaker for businesses that are looking for different products or services that are out there. We go through an extensive vetting process, and we work with over 200 technology advisors and partners and agents out there as a resource for that community, helping them find the right products and services for their customers. So that's a little bit about who we are. We have over 3,500 customers, and we've been around for over 20 years. When describing to customers what we do, it was a bit of a struggle, and so we came up with a Technology Source Elements of Business Success. And this table of elements covers everything from cybersecurity, business optimization, software and applications, connectivity, voice and communications, marketing, mobility, and of course, cloud and infrastructure. This just helps our customers get a better feel for all the different products and services that we provide. And we also have many more that aren't on here, but this is just kind of a start to get us talking about the different elements. These are just some of the events, and as you can see, there's some events that we've canceled, but in their place, we've been doing these virtual roundtables so that customers can see us and interact with us and get to know some of the wonderful providers that we work with. We do have one coming up on the 14th with Effortless and Voyant. So one of the things I wanted to talk about today before you meet our providers is just some of the compliance reality that's out there facing organizations. If you are an organization in business, it is likely that you fall under, at the very least, DOJ compliance, GSA, IRS, all of these different organizations that are out there, and as well as some like voluntary compliance, things like PCI compliance. If you want to use credit cards, you can voluntarily use a credit card system, but you have to comply with PCI. These types of realities our customers are facing are even more challenging when you put together these compliance realities with the current reality of what's going on with the coronavirus. And so we just want to make sure that our customers are considering all of these in any vendor selection. And that's a big part of the vendors that we look for are ones that are also going to help you show and maintain compliance. And if you look at the healthcare industry, that compliance reality gets even more scary. It's just staggering. The number of different entities that are out there, along with the health plans that are consistently putting these audits in place for every single healthcare provider, it's a lot. And with the coronavirus, I heard that kind of a rumor that maybe HIPAA is on hold, and that is definitely not the case. There are some lax rules right now for telehealth and those types of things, but we always want to make sure that our customers are considering the vast variety of compliance regulations that are out there, from state, local regulations, and then of course federal regulations. As you can see, most of those organizations here fit the right need for the customer. And so let's talk about kind of what's going on right now with the current state. Most of us are getting the option to work from home. Some of us, it's not an option, it's a mandate. And we are in these environments that may not be set up properly with the right internet and the right cybersecurity and the right need for communications. And so it's a challenge for organizations, and they're struggling. Businesses are relying now on those business collaboration tools, so it really helps if they're integrated in the rest of their systems. And then internet speeds, while they remain high, users are able to adopt cloud services. There may be internet problems for each individual user. And I've seen weaponized attacks being doubled in the past 30 days, and this statistic's a couple days old, so I would even assume that it's probably worse by now. And organizations are still really falling victim to ransomware. 84% of workers are on multiple teams, and that can be a struggle for how do you communicate with different teams that are now dispersed. So one thing I like to point out is that Technology Source, we want to plan for the recovery. I strongly believe, and our leadership believes, that there will be a recovery, and we will peak. There will be a peak in the state of all of what's going on, and then we will start to recover. And so every buying solution that we're making now, every buying activity, we want to consider how this is going to affect us in the long term, not just a knee-jerk reaction for what's happening right now. So again, we've got consumer complaints doubling to the FTC in the last 2 weeks. The number of emails that have been used with phony virus headers and information have increased 14,000% in the past 2 weeks. That's just when they started, studying that statistic. And then Palo Alto and a bunch of other groups have been logging hundreds of thousands of phony websites registered with words including COVID, virus, corona in the past few weeks. And so we've got home workers constantly paying attention to what's going on, maybe accidentally logging into one of these sites. So we just want to make sure that if they're also on, of course we want to protect them just to be good, kind people, but also we want to protect our organizations that may be affiliated with these home workers. We have 81,000 coronavirus-related malicious files, and again, this is day old, so I'm guessing it's gone quite a bit higher. And then coronavirus-related suspicious spam coming through. We've got, this statistic. So there's a lot for the home users to be aware of, so needs to be a lot of training right now for organizations and kind of, working with each individual user to make sure they understand this stuff is out there. And then 80% of the attacks that have been reported in the last few weeks are phishing. And so phishing comes in your email, it comes through spoofed websites, portals, even phone calls that could be connected to websites. So it's pretty scary what our users are faced with. Again, we're going to plan for that recovery. So let's look at some of the industries that have been the hardest hit. Manufacturing and travel right there at the top, across the board with personnel, operations, supply chain, revenue, and just the overall assessment. And it goes all the way on down from retail, energy, high tech and telecommunications, healthcare, nonprofit. So organizations are being severely impacted. This is from Statusly, and if you're interested in any of the statistics sources, just email me and I can send over more information. I have pages of notes down here that I won't read off, but I think it's important just so we know kind of the statistics, and they're just coming out every day, and they're pretty scary. So we went over the last few weeks, if you've been keeping up with our virtual roundtables, how companies can overcome some of the pain points from working from home. We won't touch on these again today, but if you'd like to, visit our YouTube channel and you can see these individual. The final slide I will close us out with before I hand this over to Stephanie is just our process. At Technology Source, we're known as the Sourcing as a Service company. We are here for you to help you source the products and services that you need. We've gotten that trademarked. I'm excited because that was a big one for us. And when we thought about what is it that we do, it's sourcing as a service. And so we have a strategic business conversation, and that's where it really starts. It may start with you hearing about us or being reached out to from one of our advisors, but then once you kind of hear about us and give us the chance, we would like to have a strategic conversation with you, your advisor, and maybe some senior advisors at our organization so we can understand where you're at. And from there, we will give you strategic recommendations for the proper service providers that we feel would meet the needs for your organization. We have over 200 different providers to choose from, and they're all very different. Some are, really pride themselves on customer service, some on price, some on, being that one vendor for everything. And they've all got a unique thing that they bring to the table. We'll kind of go over your concerns, your goals, and where you're at right now. And then we introduce you directly to the vendor, and we help make sure that those solutions that you select are the right fit and that the timeline is met. We're consistent in, that accountability, making sure you get the right team to deploy those services, considering we have executives like myself who've been on the other side working for some of these companies. So we kind of know what to look for and kind of can see around the corner for you and help you kind of stay ahead of that. And then on the flip side, once those services have been deployed, we just help make sure that the billing is proper and in place. And then we also make sure that if there's any issues or problems or concerns, that we're right there to back you up. And, if need be, find other solutions or services as new needs arise. And so that's just a little about who we are and what we do at Technology Source. Thank you to all of our panelists. I'll just say goodbye and stay safe. And to all of our audience there, thank you. We know you're here and we care about you, and hopefully we can help you in any way possible.
Join us every Tuesday from now till May at 10 a.m. Pacific Time for the Technology Source Virtual Roundtable Series.